In this video, I will try to go deeper to the cellular level and to understand how muscles work, how we can get the bulking of the muscle, what diet works the best, what exercises to do and how to do them, and also what food is appropriate for bodybuilding. Okay, so let's go to this. So we can compare two kinds of hypertrophy of the muscles and different way to develop it. Okay, let's start. Macroscopic scale. Skeletal muscle attached to bones for the movement of the skeleton and to other muscles and to the base membrane of the skin. There are approximately 700 skeletal muscles in the body that vary greatly in size and shape. Okay, I want to just stop for a while and recommend you, I highly recommend you to go to the description of this video and download the presentation and read the presentation, because some parts, some details are quite complicated, and then you need probably longer time to understand. And in the presentation you will find also the links to the sources. You can click on the link and go deeper. Okay, again, each muscle is composed of parallel bundles of individual muscle cells. Bundles of these cells, called fascicles, are wrapped in a layer of connective tissue which holds the bundle together. Skeletal muscle tissue constitutes about 40 to 45% of total body weight in humans and is among the body's most metabolically active tissues. You see that again. The bulking of muscles is very important, especially for people like of older age, because they can get rejuvenation. I will go to this a little bit later. So that muscles are a big part, the growing muscles, bulking muscles are a big part of rejuvenation process. Okay, here we see the structure of the muscles. So we have tendon, and it is attached to the bone, and then we have this bundle of these muscle cells and blood vessels and extracellular matrix which keeps this muscle cells and also we have this muscle cell itself. Okay, so the muscle hormonal environment has a large impact on protein synthesis and therefore on muscle growth and hypertrophy. Hormones such as testosterone, growth hormone, insulin-like, growth factor 1, and glucocorticoids are important regulators of muscle remodeling, including determine whether the muscle growth or atrophy will occur. Muscle catabolism is a response to severe stress and the lack of protein in food. Then amino acids from muscle tissues are used for protein synthesis in other parts of the body. So let's go to microscopic scale. Skeletal muscle cells are made up to approximately 70% of water, with myofibril proteins, which is two types, actin and myosin, and non-myofibril proteins, which is sarcoplasmic proteins, comprising the balance. The fluid surrounding these proteins is sarcoplasm, and it is critical for maintaining proper muscular function. It includes molecules of ATP, glycogen, creatine phosphate, and water. The myofibril proteins are the ones responsible for carrying out muscular contraction. Okay, so we see this cross-section of the muscle cell, and we have the sarcolemma, which is the cell membrane, and we have sarcoplasm, which is fluid, gel-like fluid, mostly with water, but with ATP molecules, with other proteins which are suspended, and we have myofibrils. Myofibrils, these are the fibers which are fibers inside of the muscular cell that produce contraction of the muscle fiber. In myofibrils, they have striation, such if you will look at the microscope, you will see striations. Striations, they show the, okay, we'll go to a microscope photo of them. Okay, skeletal muscle cells are produced during the development of a fetus by fusion of many mononucleated myoblasts. Muscle fibers do not divide after initial tissue formation. So when these fibers are produced, they will not divide. They are not normal cells. But we can get more muscular cells. We will consider it, we will talk about this later. We can get more muscular cells from, again, kind of the same way by fusion of many mononucleated myoblasts. Because the muscle cells are made of multiple cells, each one has more than one nucleus. It has the long muscular cells, they have hundreds of nucleus, and these nuclei control the production of proteins because they control production of RNA and then all the proteins that build up the muscle fibers, and they are positioned at the cell periphery. The skeletal muscle cells can be very long, ranging from 1 millimeter to 30 centimeters in length, and with diameter from 1 to 10 microns. So here we see that how in fetus it was developing. So there were some myoblasts, small cells, and they were fusion together and producing some line of the myoblasts. And then such myofibrils were formed, and then this every nuclei was producing RNA for protein synthesis because the cell is so long that we need more than one nucleus. Okay, side view. You see that eventually some inside this muscle cell, special myotubes start to develop, and these myotubes can produce myofibrils. Myofibrils, these are proteins which produce a contraction of the muscles. Yeah, okay, and then we see this picture. First, the nuclei stay in the center of the muscle cell, but then they migrate to the periphery. Okay, we know that there are aerobic endurance exercises and resistance exercises, two types of exercises. And what is interesting, both of these type of exercises, they can activate so-called satellite cells. Satellite cells, they are special cells which work almost the same like these myoblasts. Okay, they can produce satellite cells as long as when they are activated, they can produce new fibers and new muscle cells. In adult skeletal muscles, we have to use so-called progressive overload. You know that we have maximum load, and then we can every time we go to exercise, we have to push our body to the limit. To the limit that it is getting to the limit is to the failure to produce some exercise is called progressive overload. And then this progressive overload, this give a signal, and this signal will activate satellite cells. And satellite cells will work to produce more these fibrils and more muscular cells. Okay, then the satellite cells get activated and get some proliferation. Most of them fuse with myofibers and contribute to the increase in myonuclei, because we are getting every time we are getting one more nucleus in the muscle cell. And then we have more nuclei, and then we have better production of these new proteins. How it is, schematically, you can see it here, how the fibers developed in fetus. So myoblasts, they first produce one myotube, so-called myotube, and this myotube, in the myotube, the nuclei distributed evenly. Eventually, they migrate to periphery and to of the cell, and then we have the neuron attached to this myofibers, and the neuron gives a command to of stretching or contraction of the muscle cells. Okay, then, as I said, the muscle cells are tubular in shape and they appear striated or striped, and the striations come from bands of protein which act to cause a shortening of the cell and contraction of the muscle as a whole. The cells also have large number of mitochondria to supply the cell with energy in the form of ATP molecules. Endurance exercise and resistance exercises increase skeletal muscle mitochondria volume and density by an increase in numbers of existing mitochondria. So we can improve metabolic rate, and by increasing number of mitochondria in the cells. So here we see the striations, and we have this mitochondria and mitochondria, but I don't see nuclei, but okay, no, here probably nuclei. Okay, here's the schematical structure of the skeletal muscle cells. Here's the nucleus, we have many nuclei arranged about evenly along the muscle cell, and we have inside a relatively complicated structure. So we have mitochondria, and we have some of these myofibrils, which can contract, and then we have this surrounding. This is a special structure, a sarcoplasmic reticulum. It is a structure which keeps calcium ions, and these calcium ions can be released when they are activated by impulse from neuron. Okay, then go further. We have even a more detailed picture, which shows what are the striations. Striations they correspond to two types of the proteins. Yeah, we have myosin filaments and actin filaments. They are arranged such way, like here, and we have so-called Z zone or Z line. And we will go next, we will see this Z zone or Z disc, and we will see how it is muscle cells contract. So here again the one nucleus, and then we have this mitochondria, one mitochondria and many mitochondria, and we have these striations. Okay, then this slide shows how the contraction is happening. So we have myosin fibers and we have actin fibers. When calcium ions supplied, what is happening? This Z disc, Z area, this H area, pardon, here, Z zone, Z disc, H area is getting narrow. What is interesting, the length of these actin fibers and myosin fibers is not changing. What is changing? The width of the H zone. H zone gets narrow, and then it is eventually all the length of the muscle cell is getting shorter. Okay, then we are coming again to satellite cells. Satellite cells, they provide some source to produce more nuclei to the existing muscular cells, and also they can create new fibers, and they can create new muscle cells. Okay, and then for growth of the muscles, it requires activation of these satellite cells. Okay, then what we go next? Again, that we have to distinguish muscle hypertrophy from muscular hyperplasia. Hypertrophy is increasing amount of contractive elements and extracellular matrix of the muscle cell, of every individual muscle cells. And in order for the muscle cell to grow, in addition to the increase of the content of sarcoplasma and myofibrils, an increase in the number of myonuclei is necessary. So it's these satellite cells, they provide additional nuclei to the and this with additional nuclei, more proteins can be synthesized, and the rate to produce of these proteins also increasing. So this to increase capacity of the muscle cells for protein synthesis. Then we need mechanical stimulus or mechanical stress, metabolic stress or mechanical stimulus to activate satellite cells. And then satellite cells, they have long procedure how they will go. They produce first some precursor cells and then multiply and fuse with existing muscular fibers. And we see here again the picture of the muscle cell. In cross section, we have this nuclei here on the periphery of the muscle cell. We have this envelope, actually a membrane around the muscle cell, and we have this myofibrils. Number of myofibrils can increase, and this leads to hypertrophy. Okay, let's go. The stimulus for muscle growth, which is mostly coming from resistant exercises, and the best way it is resistant exercises with progressive overload, because the signal should be really strong. Because if we do exercise but not to the limit, not to the failure, then muscles, our body say, okay, we can do this job, no problem. But if you're coming to the very limit, to the failure, then your body saying, okay, we need probably next time more that's muscles cells and more myofibrils, and then hypertrophy is happening. So for production of proteins, and also we have to remember that two processes is going. One process protein synthesis, other process is protein degradation. And of course, during resistance exercises, some muscles will be damaged and some proteins will degrade. This is a normal process. But we have to create such situations that protein synthesis will be favored more than protein degradation. And then it requires some metabolic demand, some availability of amino acids and good food, etc. And again, the stimulus for hypertrophy is important, but dietary composition may be a critical factor regulating a degree of muscular hypertrophy. Because if you don't have enough amino acids, you cannot produce muscles, and instead there will be muscle atrophy. Okay, then we go. This is maybe not so important. So 3 mechanisms of hypertrophy: mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. Mechanical tension, it is coming from this resistant exercises and to the limit with progressive overload, to the limit, to the damage, to that some fibers are broken, and then repair starts, and then activation of the satellite cells, etc. Metabolic stress corresponds to hormones. Hormones also determine the situation of the hypertrophy. And of course, that muscle damage is rules. If we have muscle damage in the result of injury, or it is muscle damage because you go to the limit and you break some muscles, then it is all mechanism to activate satellite cells and activate hypertrophy. The more time spent under load, the more mechanical tension will be provided. Okay, this is a good indication and good that to understand it, that when you do resistance exercises, don't do number of exercises, but go slowly. Increase total time under tension, at maximum tension. So go slowly, 5 seconds to push, 5 seconds to pull. That do slowly, maximum load, at maximum load. Maximum load, this maximum tension should be the condition for the muscle hypertrophy. Also, when muscles are broken, we have this muscle soreness. It is actually happens after undertaking exercise, and this is a result of micro tears in the muscles as a result of damage. It also can happen, and this leads to a large buildup of metabolites like lactate, hydrogen ions, and resistive reactive oxygen species, etc. So this is also a signal for satellite cells, to get activated and to repair the damage, And this is also important part because the metabolic stress and hormones, together with hormones, has anabolic effect, has producing signal molecules, and then we have hormone response by the body to this damage, and we have release of hormones. That with this environment, we start to grow muscles and to get this hypertrophy. And you have to understand there are two types of muscular hypertrophy: myofibrillar, and which is an increase in number of myofibrils in one cell, in every cell. So it is increasing volume of the cell, but it's actually increasing of the volume because the myofibrils have to be packed inside, and then they also this fiber is in sarcoplasmic in sarcoplasma, but sarcoplasmic is hypertrophy is different, because you can increase volume of the muscle cells not by increased number of these fibers inside myofibrils, but different. You can increase amount of glycogen and then also some storage of other ATP and okay, so we come to this, but again, you have to understand that we have two types of hypertrophy. Myofibrillar is more it's preferable, because sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, it is more easy to get, but it is lasting not long, few days, and then your muscles can change in the volume, because water is water. That if you increase amount of this, pardon me, water in the cell, then it is not lasting for long. Myofibrillar hypertrophy, and this is, as I said, multiplication of myofibrils. Then they increase fiber strength, and because more contractive units are pulling on your body, so you are improving strength of your muscles. This will lead, of course, to higher maximum load in one repetition, and this is a measure. If you go to gym and you work with machines that have that can change the load, you see that every maybe second time you are coming to the gym, your maximum load is increasing, and it can go quite quick. This increasement if you are a newbie, if you are new athlete, if you started just this coming to the gym not long enough, then you see the progress is fantastic. It go very quick first. So, and this what is happening, that the maximum load in one repetition, this is some parameter, what you the maximum strength you can develop, then it is always coming, and with progressive overload it is getting more and higher and higher and higher. During microfibrillar hypertrophy, there is also expansion of the sarcoplasm, but the ratio between myofibrillar proteins and water remains relatively constant. Okay, And then we have another type of hypertrophy. It is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It is, as I said, it is increased muscle volume of the cell, and of course it improves capacity because you have more ATP and glycogen, and so stored in the cell, and you can produce more sets and more repetitions till failure. And this again occurs much in the same way like myofibrillar hypertrophy, through your body overcompensating during the recovery phase after your energy sources have been depleted during a workout. Again, these two types of hypertrophy and two ways to get it. Two ways. One way of exercises will produce this myofibrillar hypertrophy, and other set of other rules for resistance exercises will produce sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Okay, so it's different approach, different food also, and different supplements. Okay, but again, even if just this volume of water increasing, that again, as I said, ATP, we have more ATP stored inside, more glycogen, and then more water. But again, they actually, if you have myofibrillar hypertrophy, volume of the sarcoplasm is also growing, but it is not so dramatic. So we have here at this picture, at this slide, we have this myofibrillar hypertrophy. So you see that fibers are packed in a compact way, and then we have sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and then we have a larger volume of water with ATP, with glycogen, and other substances which are actually important for to produce the exercises, but they are important to produce to increase number of repetitions and to make great number of sets. You make one set with many repetitions, you make many sets with rest time between them, or you train your body to develop strength. And developing strength is different. You don't need many repetitions. Sometimes you can limit the number of repetitions below 5, and then you can get myofibrillar hypertrophy. It is not so much increasing the volume of the muscles, but very much increasing strength of the muscles. Okay, again, we see this difference between myofibrillar hypertrophy and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Here, number of these fibers, myofibrils, is increasing, and also they're densely packed. And also we have the muscle cells can produce stronger tension. The muscles are getting stronger, or otherwise they have that we have water, and then it is like soft muscles. We have a lot of volume, look very nice, and that's for bodybuilding. Bodybuilders mostly follow exercises to develop sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Okay, this is the difference between lifters. Weight lifters, they develop strength, and bodybuilders develop that impression of they develop bulk of the muscles. Okay, myofibrillar hypertrophy is best achieved through strength training, as I said, while sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is activated through what is known fatigue training. So fatigue training is at low intensity. It is 75% or less than 75% of your maximum load in one repetition. So if you make a maximum load to failure, and this would be your limit, that you cannot go further, and then 70% of load from one repetition maximum load, it will give you this fatigue. So you make a lot of repetitions, number of repetitions, 10, 15, maybe more, and short rest between the sets, between the repetitions and sets. and then you have about 1 minute between the between the sets. Indeed, the most immediate energy source for short-term anaerobic exercise is ATP and creatine phosphate. So, okay, you also have more creatine phosphate, and creatine phosphate helps to produce energy. So, if you go to such exercises like produce fatigue, then you are getting eventually sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So your body looks better, your body looks great, but it is mostly a volume of this sarcoplasm and mostly volume of the muscles, but not strength is increasing. But okay, then you have then also you store more glycogen, and this glycogen is used for energy and to produce lactic acid. So if you go to this fatigue, what you eventually get, you get development of lactic acid, and then lactic acid makes this fatigue, so you cannot continue more. And also, according to this recommendations, there are some rules. If you do 1 to 5 repetitions at maximum, as close as possible to the 1 repetition maximum load, then it is you develop strength and myofibril recruitments, and you will develop this type of myofibrillar hypertrophy. Okay, but if you go to 9 to 12 repetition, then you eventually increase sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Yes, and between you produce maybe the best compromise between this and this 6 to 8 repetition. It is produced the best medium, the best compromise between myofibril and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. But if you do more than 15 repetitions, I see that in the gym that some people make 30 repetitions and maybe more. It is increasing muscular endurance, but not result in muscular hypertrophy, and it is also developing your increase of your muscle volume is going very slow. I do not deny that endurance exercises are very important, and most of the time in the gym I pay to as endurance exercises, but I have reasons for this. But again, muscle growth in during the resistant exercises, and you have to decide what is your program. Is it to increase strength, or is it increase volume, or to make compromise between both? Pardon me. Okay, then what is important? As I said, it is necessary to maintain a time between tension and tension, and the tension is over 10 seconds per set. Okay, so if you do if you do exercises, you push in 5 seconds and pull in for 5 seconds. It is again to get sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, to get activation of the satellite cells. You need time under tension, And good news for all the people that sarcoplasmic protein synthesis does not decrease with age, but strength development is a little bit slow. Okay, also it is possible to get some increases in sarcoplasmic volume by taking creatine, and also by taking carbohydrates or sugar or some rice or banana, whatever. Some bodybuilders use it, and also what is they do blood flow restriction. And then it is all together that this blood flow restrictions that is causing muscle damage, and then it is help to get hypertrophy. But again, you have to be very careful, and I don't think that blood flow restrictions is helpful, because again, if you do it, this type of hypertrophy is not short living. In a week or so, it will be just disappear. Well, and again, if you start to use creatine or carbohydrates before the exercises, you have to do it non-stop. Otherwise, you stop to do it, and all water will go away. Just all water, because of this glycogen storage and because of creatine storage in the muscle cells, will just go away. So this fluid retention in the muscles after a session of, and also this is that flow restriction of blood is also not so nice, because if you restrict it, you will get some result very quick actually, but it will because it causes a lot of muscle damage, but it dissipates within 3 days, and then in 3 days you will get less this hypertrophy, and then effect will progressively smaller over time. So I don't recommend it, and I will never do it myself. Instead, it is necessary to enhance blood flow in the muscle. Because it provides the muscles with not only with more oxygen, but some key nutrients which can help enhance the workout performance, and they also supply amino acids for hypertrophy. When blood is more easily able to enter the muscle, it is also allows to remove byproducts such as lactic acid from the muscles, and it is improving muscular endurance and reducing muscular fatigue. Again, this is mostly important for the strength development, and not for sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, but for strength development. What is, again, there are some interesting connection between my previous research in science and then with this biology, because in 2006, a long time ago, when I worked intensively, very efficient and intensively, essentially in science, I discovered this was new physical phenomenon actually. I demonstrated that very thin coating by viscoelastic substance on the inside of a tube may radically decrease friction losses for flow of fluid. I demonstrated it was just some fluid which is silicon-based fluid, and I got a big change in friction losses, in viscous losses inside for flow of fluid, and it looks like we have the same phenomena in our blood vessels. So I may speculate that friction losses due to viscosity of the blood will be reduced and blood flow will be enhanced if inside of the capillaries, the inside of the capillaries is coated by some viscoelastic substances. And what is surprise, indeed healthy capillaries are coated by a thin layer of glycoproteins and glycolipids. And this layer has the name glycocalyx, and it is only half micron thickness, but it is enough. And then we have this glycocalyx, and we have also mucus, jelly-like mucus, which lines up at the top of glycocalyx. And then what is happening? Then we have protection of the inside of the capillaries, especially of the of all blood vessels, but especially capillaries. And blood flow goes with less friction. We don't need high blood pressure to push blood through the blood vessels. So our heart worked not so much, and but again there are some interesting facts. So if you are getting in time, especially if your diet is based on carbohydrates, then in time when you are aging, the blood glucose levels increasing, and this increase in blood glucose level leads to dramatic decrease in the thickness of the glycocalyx, and also increase of the endothelial permeability and blah blah blah. So the friction inside of the blood vessels and special capillaries is increasing, because thickness of the glycocalyx is dropping, and then this decrease in thickness is leaving that increase friction, viscosity friction. Okay, then again, there were some publications that any increase in blood glucose, is it chronic increase or is it just temporary increase? Then this will always significantly reduce the thickness and volume of the glycocalyx, and then this causes endothelium dysfunction. You have problem with your immune system, you have problem with inflammation in your body, and you have problem with hypertension. So your blood pressure should go up very much, and then it is your time to your lifespan will be shorter, of course. And the damage, the telomere damage is includes increase in the level of active reactive oxygen species, formation of advanced glycocalyc end products, which is cross-linking of the protein molecules with sugar molecules, and activation enzymes which destroyed hyaluronic acid and the entire glycocalyx. There was very nice publications, you can read it. Again, it is extremely dangerous, and following diet with a lot of carbohydrates, despite some bodybuilders and coaches in bodybuilders, they recommend, not to mention the medical professionals, that medical professionals always recommend to consume a lot of carbohydrates. Most of energy, in their opinion, we have to get from carbohydrates. The result will be this. The result will be hypertension, shorter lifespan, and eventually not efficient and slow down in the muscular hypertrophy. So here we have glycocalyx picture, and then this is very thin, one cell layer only of the endothelium cells, and these endothelium cells, they protect our body and from viruses, from bacteria, and some toxins. So we need this glycocalyx because this is a protecting layer. And if this protecting layer will be damaged, then it's a big problem. Okay, even small capillaries size of, you see this glycocalyx layer just less than half micron mostly. And this mucus is not shown here because it is an electron microscope picture, but we can imagine that mucus is coating this glycocalyx and makes this glycocalyx to work as viscoelastic fluid, like viscoelastic layer, which reduce friction inside the capillaries. Okay, then again, as I said, bodybuilders and medical professionals, they recommend so-called balanced diet and to get 30-35% of calories from protein, 55-60% from carbohydrates, and only 15-20% from fat. But again, as I said, you get higher concentration of glucose in the blood, and you will get in time. It is not, of course, it is not instantly. It develops, but you have your lifespan is shorter, and you have development of all these morbidities, all these problems in older age, with which we see in old people. Okay, so again, you can check that, and also your aging will accelerate because we have cross-linking of protein molecules, especially collagen molecules with sugar molecules, and then these enzymes which destroy hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid makes our skin and other tissues elastic, more elastic. They keep water, and then glycocalyx will be damaged too. So, okay, this is my opinion, personal opinion. I'm not medical professional. I cannot give any medical advice. I can only share my experience and to say that I follow a strict carnivore diet, but it is actually not much for bodybuilding, because I'm not much interested in the bulking of the muscles. I am more interested to extend my lifespan. And this is what I am doing. This carnivore diet is related to the my project of lifespan extension and in part rejuvenation. So, and then it is, I have different options, but side effects of what I am doing is increasing of mass of this muscular hypertrophy. I see it works very well. Despite I started this resistance exercises not long ago, 7 weeks only ago, but I see very good progress. It works amazingly. But again, it works the most efficient way for people who only start this resistance exercises. Then your strength and volume of your muscles is growing very quick. But again, let's see how it will develop further. So I give these materials for educational purposes, just to show you that this mechanism of cell, if we go to the mechanism of muscular hypertrophy, we will discover these two ways to increase volume of the muscles and strength of the muscles and volume of the muscles. Then it depends on you what is your goal. What do you want to be a power lifter, or you want to be a bodybuilder, and what is your purpose? Or well, then you can choose this or that, or you can get some compromise between different techniques of the resistance exercises. And of course you understand how to grow muscles, that you have to go as close as possible to failure. So you have to go to failure. You have to continue these repetitions of the until failure, until you cannot do any more. And of course, if you are very close to maximum load in one repetition, then number of repetitions can be below 5, below 5, 3, 5 repetitions, and already you get into the failure, and you get progressive overload in time. Every next time you increase the load, and then you have very quick growth of strength. But you are getting this special type of hypertrophy, which is increasing strength, not volume of water inside the muscular cells, but increasing number of these myofibrils. Mostly your strength is coming up, but it is not bad. Also, as I said, it is very, very important to improve the supply of and flow of blood. There are other methods to improve blood flow, and I use such methods. I will not disclose it here, because these methods are a little bit tricky, and also they probably, without proper understanding how it works, it's even dangerous. But I use methods to dilate my blood vessels, so that more blood will go to the muscles, and I will get more endurance. And indeed, I do endurance exercises for long, some days even 90 minutes, some days a little bit 1 hour and a half. And then only after this time, 1 hour and a half or minimum time, I am getting to this resistance exercises. And resistance exercises I do relatively quick, with no rest time between the sets, with no rest time between changing from one machine to another machine. And it takes me very short, it takes me less than 1/2 of hour. And then this strength of the muscle is coming up very much, but of course volume is not so growing not so well. So it's again, if you understand how to and you have clear goal what to do to increase the volume of the muscle or to increase strength of the muscle, this or that, you can decide what kind of exercises, what kind of diet also you can follow. Because in my case, I try to get as many proteins, as much proteins of animal origin as possible. I don't consume any carbohydrates, because as I said, carbohydrates can reduce this glycocalyx layer, can enlarge the friction inside the capillaries, and then my process of the muscle growing will be compromised, so I don't want it. And of course, then it is only for for information purposes. And if you watch this video to the end, thank you for your time, and please comment, subscribe, like, ask questions, and share information. And again, I recommend you to understand how it works, because I see many people in our gym. I don't interfere, it's not my business. There are coaches in the gym, they make money to train people and to show them how to do exercises, but I see many people just do it some strange way, and I like many repetitions, more than 25 repetitions, and the long time of rest between the sets, and like more than 5 minutes, and I don't understand it. It's actually certainly it is not efficient way, but okay, everybody is responsible for what he is doing. Okay, thank you for your time again. Have a wonderful day. Ciao.